Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked for this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the Onoto, and this is the Magna Classic in green. We have an Onoto Magna Classic in amber, and these are both chased. We have an Onoto, and this is a Cult Pens exclusive, and this is the Christmas Carol from 2022. We have a TWICO Seishu Dragon in red, a TWICO Seishu Dragon in green. We have a Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath, a Taccia Miyabi Empress Winter's Breath. We have a Cypress or Mr. Cypress pens, and this is an Eggshell Raden, and we have another Mr. Cypress Eggshell Raden here, and then we have a Mr. Cypress, and this is the Maple Leaf. So I think let's go through these pens in a little bit more detail. So this is a pen that I've had now for, I want to say it's over a year now, and I do like this pen a lot. I have always been fond of the Onoto Magna Classics, and also more so the chased patterns. And you can see that here. It has this lovely chasing, which is like backfilled with a sort of silver there, so that you can actually see that chased pattern stands out. It is an Onoto, so you have the Onoto coin finial there, and you just have a blank end on the blind cap there. If I unscrew the cap there, you'll see it's a number 7 size Onoto nib. This is an 18 karat gold nib with a ABS plastic feed. It is a cartridge converter, so I can show you that here. I still have about 2/3 of that converter there. I did refill or re-ink this one about halfway through the week because I actually wrote it dry. You can see then the size of my hand, it's actually really good in terms of posting the cap. Slightly back weighted because of the extra silver here on the cap, but you can see there that it is actually a good size in my hand there. But this is a beautiful pen, and I do like it a lot, so I've got that one inked up with me this week as well. The next pen here is the Onoto. And this again is a Magna Carta. It's again a chased that you can see here pattern, and this is on the amber. Again, you can see the Onoto finial there on the cap. It's a really, really beautiful pen. And if I unscrew the cap, you'll see again a number 7 size Onoto nib with an ABS plastic feed. But you can see in the size of my hand, this is really good. And you can also post that cap as well. So for me, this is actually quite a nice pen. Now, this one isn't quite as weighty as this one, because this one actually has a brass inner liner, just to add a little bit more weight. The next pen here inked up is this beautiful Onoto Magna Classic again, but this isn't a chase pattern. So this is actually a Cult Pens exclusive, and this was from Christmas 2022, and it was called the Onoto Cult Pens exclusive Magna Carta, Magna Classic, and it was the Christmas Carol. And you can see that this is a beautiful pattern, very Christmassy, and I have decided to ink this up with a nice gold glittery ink. And I know a few people have asked me recently, do I write with my shimmer inks? And yes, I do. I do write with them, but typically I will, most of the time, put the shimmer inks in a TWISBI because they're easy to clean out, a TWISBI VAC 700R, or I will put them in a cartridge converter. And seeing that this pen does have a cartridge converter, and it is a gold pen, and I don't normally do black inks that much, I decided that I would put a gold ink in here. So I did go for that. But you can see here, it's a number 7 size. Now, this is a broad steel nib. It's not an 18 karat gold nib, but you can see that glitter there, that it really is quite shiny. And if I show you the converter there, that hopefully you'll see that there is quite a bit of glitter in that converter, although it's about half empty now, so, or half full, depending on which way you look at things. But it's a good size in my hand. Again, this doesn't have a brass inner lining to it, so it is lightweight, so you can post this cap and it's not back weighted. And I would say though that this is a really nice size, just slightly around oversized pen wise, but it's not a massively long pen compared to some of these other pens that I have in my collection. The next pen here is a pen. I bought both of these, the Red Dragon and the Green Dragon. These are the TWICO Seishu Dragon, and this is the red one. Beautiful pen. I bought this at the London Pen Show in March this year. Absolutely in awe of this, and as always, you kind of, you go with a mentality of whether or not you're going to buy certain pens or lots of pens or no pens, and I was aiming to go to buy no pens, but a couple of days before I went back and looked at a few of my old pen show videos. So it's not just yourselves that watch it, I do rewatch them as well. And I saw this pen here in the October London Pen Show last year in 22. And I saw this and I just thought, you know what, I can see the price tags and I'd love to get them, but I can't go for two. And I think if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I actually got two for a really good price. So these are Maki Urushi. You've even got some abalone shell there for the dragon's eyes. And it's just that light touch there that really makes this a beautiful pen. Really, really stylish. I love the gloss blackness here of the pen. But then all of this is raised and it's a beautiful pen. I do like it a lot. I thought originally I would prefer the red version of this pen. It's got a 14 karat gold nib. It's a medium nib with a cartridge converter. It does have a little bit of a step down here because it is a flush cap that you can see here. And typically, I know a lot of people complain about step downs, but if you want a flush cap to the body, you do need a step down, unfortunately. But that step down doesn't bother me. You can't post the cap. It's not designed to do so, and I wouldn't want to either. But it's a beautiful pen, cartridge converter. The pattern always lines up. Absolutely stunning pen. So glad I was able to pick that one up at the London Pen Show in March 23 this year. And I also picked up the green one as well. And I said that I thought that I would favour the red one more because, I don't know, I'm just more of a red colour than a green colour. Although I'd have to say that I have been writing with a lot of green inks this year. And this one just has really sort of, I don't know, it's become more of a favourite, shall we say, than the red one. It's again exactly the same pattern, the dragon, with the abalone shell there in the eyes. Beautiful pen, and I'm in awe still that I've got this added to my collection. I really do like this one a lot. You can see there's a number 6 size, 14 karat gold nib. Even got a fireball here as well, some wind. It's a cartridge converter. You can't post the cap. There is a bit of a step down still, but to be honest, with a pen like this, I prefer it because once you screw that cap shut, you'll see that it is flush. And I think in works of art like this, you kind of need to have a flush cap, so you will get some kind of a step down. Now, the next pen here is inked up is the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath, and talking about step downs, this has a slight step down here from the cap to the body, and so it's not completely flush like these two here. But this is a beautiful pen. This was a I bought this for my birthday, or around my birthday, and this was not this year. I think it was a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. I have to look that one up. But this is a really, really beautiful pen, and I have to say that I really do love having it in my collection. Now, I'm just having a look. It was actually end of January 21, so it was actually 2 years ago. So time flies when you're having fun. It's a beautiful, beautiful pen, and you can see all of this. These are actually quail's eggs, crushed and then glued onto the pen with abalone strips there, and it's a beautiful Rawdon Mackie. If I unscrew the cap, you'll notice the step down isn't as pronounced because you've got the threads here, and they kind of like step down themselves slightly onto a section. We have a number 6 size Taccia nib, and this is in a broad nib that I got this for, and it's a really, really nice pen. Again, cartridge converter. I have to say that I have been liking cartridge converters more over the last few years. I have a love-hate relationship with them because I do a lot of writing, and I will go through these very quickly. So on a lot of these, if they're wet writing nibs, a cartridge converter will probably allow me to write 3 full A4 pages. And typically I will try and write 4, and I forget to refill my pens, and I forget to take my ink with me. So I then end up running out of ink. So I do prefer Paravax or piston filling pens because they will hold a lot more ink. However, these cartridge converters are a lot more easier to clean out and change inks with. The next pen, which I always said that I would never buy because I'd already bought this one, and this is again another Taccia Miyabi, but this is the Empress version of the Winter's Breath. And there's subtle differences. It's more girthy, so it's wider here. You've got a black Urushi coloured clip with eggshells as well. And you can see here that this is a very stunning Mackie pen. Beautiful, beautiful pen. And if I unscrew the cap, you'll notice it's got a much thicker section here and a number 8 size Sailor King pen nib. Taccia, the nibs for Taccia are actually made by Sailor. I got this in a medium. Somebody was selling it in the UK second hand for a really good price. I just couldn't turn it down. So I did eventually buy this pen, and glad that I did. I have always wondered whether or not I would sell the first one, and I just haven't been able to bring myself to selling it just yet. And then the next pen I got is another one, and you would actually be forgiven to think that this might be a Taccia. It's not. This is a Mr. Cypress pen, or Cypress pen, and this is a company in Taiwan that make pens, and they have a number of Urushi Mackie artists that help make the pens for them. And this was a pen that really struck my eye. Again, it's another sort of abalone shell or stripes here with eggshell. The eggshell on here is not quail's eggs, it's duck's eggs. But this is, again, a very beautiful, beautiful specimen. And again, I have to say, I really like it. Now, interestingly enough, I just want to show you here, the 2 Taccia Miyabis here, the Standard and the Empress, a lot of these are more green or bluish, where these ones here are more purplish in terms of the abalone shell. But I really do like this, and you can see that it has on both ends here the duck's eggs crushed. It doesn't have a spring-loaded cap, but it does have a lovely glittery Rawdon section there. Very fine sort of speckles. And I got this with a Mr. Cypress nib. It's an 18 karat gold nib here. I got it in a medium. It's got an ABS plastic feed. These are cartridge converters. You can see I've pretty much written this one dry almost. But the interesting thing about Mr. Cypress is that You can get them with steel nibs if you don't want to pay the extra. If you want a gold nib, you can go for a Bock or a Yovo gold nib, and it will add about, I think it was 180 US dollars to the cost of the pen as a nib upgrade. If you wanted to go with a Mr. Cypress 18 karat gold nib, like I went on this one, it's only 120 US dollars. And then if you go for the 14 karat, I think it was about 90 US dollars. So 90 US dollars for an upgrade to a 14 karat gold nib, or 120 US dollars upgrade for an 18 karat gold nib, I think is pretty good, because you're going to be paying, like for a Bock gold nib or a Yovo gold nib, you're probably going to be paying around 2 to 250 UK pounds, probably equal in euros and dollars to that value, around 2 to 250 US dollars. So I think that's a really good price. And these nibs allegedly are made by Mr. Cypress in-house. I think somebody is making the nibs for Mr. Cypress. I suspect they're not making the nibs themselves, because it does take a lot of machinery and tooling to be able to do that. But these are actually pretty good nibs. So I'm really glad that I was able to pick this one up, and you can just see here, it really, really looks lovely. The pattern does go the opposite way, though, to the Winter's Breath. And I've been on a little bit of a kick here, because I also, a few weeks later, got this one. And this is, again, another Mr. Cypress pen. So you can see there the eggshell on both ends there. It's a plain black pen, but you've got these Rawdon strips of abalone there all the way around the pen, and the eggshells just fall away on each end there. It really is a beautiful pen, I have to say. I like this pen quite a lot. Again, it has another one of these sections that has Rawdon speckles in it, and I decided, just to reduce the cost slightly, I decided to get a 14 karat gold nib on here. Again, though, it is a cartridge converter, so you can see there. And these pens are pretty good. You can see by the length and by the girth, they're not bad length and not bad girth. They're about 150 millimeters in length in total, capped, which is pretty good. You do have a little bit of a step down, though, and that is, again, like the TWICO Seishus, is that when you screw that cap on, you want almost a seamless step down here between the cap and the body. But that is a really beautiful Urushi Maki pen that I've added to my collection, along with the previous one as well. And then the next pen here, again, it's another Mr. Cypress pen. So yes, I've been on a bit of a kick here, mostly because their prices are pretty good. These are not sort of like Danny Trio prices, or in some cases Nakaya, or even Namiki. So these are really good. This one is a maple leaf, and it's a Urushi Maki. And you can see here beautiful, beautiful maple leaves all over the cap and body here. You'll see, though, that there is gold dust all the way up here. It's got a lot of texture to it. It does have some little like Rawdon speckles in there as well. And you can see the sort of the body there, that it really is quite nice. So this is a very nice Maki pen, but it does have texture. So it's not a smooth pen, but look at that section. It has a lot of gold or bronzy-ish sort of glitter in that section. Again, I decided to go for a 14 karat gold nib on this one. It's a medium as well. Now, when you go for a Mr. Cypress nib, you can actually go for a Bock compatible nib or a Yovo compatible nib. So all of these Mr. Cypresses, if you went for a Bock compatible nib, you could unscrew this and put a regular Bock nib in, and it would screw in perfectly fine. Likewise, the same if you went for a Yovo nib. I went for Bock nibs on these, and you can see the converter there is almost empty. I've been writing a lot with this pen, but you can see there in the size of my hand, it's a really good size. Again, the cap's not designed to post. I would say typically most pens that have a flush finish here will not normally post. So that's probably an easy way. If you are a cap poster and you want to post your caps on your pens, look out for a pen where it has a cap that is wider than the body, because that will certainly allow you to, in most cases, allow you to post the cap. So there you have it. That's my currently ink pens for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen here is the Onoto Magna Classic in the chased green. So I think we'll do a ink swatch here. And this is, if you've watched previous currently inked videos, you may have seen this. I talked about replacing the nib because I bought this pen secondhand. The original owner or previous owner had ground the nib down to a crisp metallic, and I do not like crisp metallics. So I did buy a new medium 18 karat gold nib from Onoto, and I have to say I am much more pleased with how it writes. So this is an Onoto, and it is the Magna Classic in chased green. Sometimes I've seen this advertised as chased jade, and I think when I reviewed it, I called it the chased jade. It's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is diamine, and this is meadow. I was just thinking, because I keep threatening that I am going to put diamine apple glory in there, and I was just thinking, have I actually done it yet? I don't believe I have, and I haven't. The next pen here is the Onoto Magna Classic in the chased amber. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is a nice nib. Again, I got this second hand. I saw it available and I decided to pounce. So it's the Onoto Magna Classic, and it's the chased amber. And again, it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Herban, and it's amber, or just going to double check. I think it's AMBRE. Yeah, Ambre de Bermanie, which is quite a nice colour of ink there, very autumny coloured. And through the summer period here in the UK, it's actually been raining a lot, so it actually does feel like autumn, and I've just been enjoying that ink more so. And it's just an ink that I bought early on, and I probably about 6 years ago, I think it was, and I've just not really written a lot with it, but I decided I would more lately. The next pen here is the Onoto Magna Classic Christmas Carol. It's a Cult Pens exclusive. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And again, this is a nice colour. Now, I got this because I wanted a gold coloured ink. So this is the Onoto Magna Classic, and it's the Cult Pens Christmas Carol, and it's this is actually a broad, and it's a steel nib. And the reason being, this was actually on or in a sale at Cult Pens, and it was going for a really good price. And I figured if I bought the steel nib version, I can always swap the nib out for a 18 karat gold nib, and it will still be cheaper than the 18 karat gold nib version of this pen. Now the ink in here, I always wanted a gold. I wanted a gold ink, but I also wanted a whiskey ink. So this is Vinta, and it's a Cult Pens exclusive, and it's called Whiskey Gold. And if you don't know, if whiskey's got an E in it, it's Irish, and if it doesn't have an E in, it's Scottish. I typically prefer Scottish whiskey than Irish whiskey, but that's what we had. A lot of actually people get the spellings round the wrong way, or don't realise there's two ways of spelling whiskey. I am just more of a Scottish whiskey kind of person. But that's a beautiful gold ink, and I hadn't realised it had particulate in it. It was a shimmer ink until I'd actually bought it and it arrived. It is a lovely colour, and I will try and get another bottle. It's out of stock at the moment, so I'm hoping it will come back in stock. The next pen is the TWICO Seishu Dragon in red. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is quite a nice, I want to say fiery red. More of a typical red, I would say. So this is the TWICO Seishu Dragon in red, and it's a medium, and it's a 14 karat gold Yovo nib, and then the ink in here is KWZ, and it's Thief's Red, and you can see that's quite a nice red ink there. The next pen inked up is the TWICO Seishu Dragon in green. And we'll do an ink swatch here. Now, these are 14 karat gold Yovo nibs, and I do find that they are a little bit more susceptible to what I would call hand grease. So that's why that one was skipping a little bit there. So this is the TWICO Seishu Dragon in green, and it's a medium, and it's a 14 karat gold nib, and I think it's just a little bit more susceptible because the nib maybe is slightly more over polished. And these are the first Yovo 14 karat gold nibs I've actually had. The ink in here is KWZ Grass Green, which is a lovely green colour ink. And I would say it's probably the colour of grass when it's wet, when it's a little bit maybe in the autumn or winter. It's that kind of sort of dark green colour. The next pen inked up is the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. And this is a lovely pen. I got this in a broad nib. I had originally ordered in a medium nib, and I had a really bad experience with Iguana Cell, where they I bought the medium nib version, and they shipped me a completely different, cheaper version of a pen, nothing like this pen. And I decided actually, after sending it back, they apparently had sent the pen to somebody else, so they couldn't actually send me the correct pen. So I got a refund. And then I decided to talk to Brian at Chatterley, and he hooked me up with this pen. And I actually, at the last minute, changed my mind and said, actually, you know what? Can I for this one, can I go for a broad nib instead of a medium nib? And so that's why I have a broad nib on this one. So this is the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. And I actually do prefer the broad nib on this. And it's a broad, and these are 18 karat gold nibs. Double checking that. And the ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, Topaz, which is an ink that I've gone through several bottles on, and I think I will soon. Actually, I did buy another bottle. I think I've gone through one full bottle, half a bottle. So I had half a bottle left, and I bought another bottle recently. So I got 1.5 bottles left. I really like this ink, so I'm probably going to have to buy another bottle. And typically, I try to buy ink when there's a sale on, and I think it's better buying it now rather than a year from now, because the prices are definitely going to be on the increase. The next pen inked up is the Taccia Miyabi Empress Winter's Breath. Now, this one I purchased second hand, so I didn't have the choice of nibs on this. So this one did come with a medium nib. However, I'm used to Sailor King of Pen medium nibs, so I didn't mind it so much. And I decided that after getting abroad there for the original Winter's Breath, that I might just like the medium a little bit more. So this is the Taccia Miyabi Empress Winter's Breath. And can I get that all in? Probably. It's a medium, and it's a King of Pen nib, but again, it's an 18 karat gold nib. It's not the Sailor 21 karat gold nib. Unfortunately, Sailor at the moment don't do the 21 karat gold for Taccia, although I think that might be changing at some point soon. So we might actually see something coming along, which would actually be quite nice if that was the case. Now, the ink in here is Diamine Ultra Green. And I'd have to say that I don't really see a lot of difference between the 18 karat Taccia nib and a 21 karat Sailor nib. Maybe it's slightly more bouncy, but not a huge amount. So you probably aren't really going to notice unless you put them side to side and you start doing sort of flex tests on them. The next pen here is a Mr. Cypress Radon, Eggshell Radon, I should say. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And I wasn't sure what ink to put in here. And I remember that last year, around the Pelican Hub in 22, I'd actually bought Pelican Edelstein Appetite as the ink of the year. And I'd never actually used it. And I actually thought, well, maybe I should just ink it up in this pen. So this is the Mr. Cypress. And actually, Mr. P there. Mr. Cypress, and this is the Eggshell Radon. There are various names like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5A, 5B. I'm just going to call this the Eggshell Radon. It's a medium, and it's a 14 karat gold Mr. Cypress nib, and 18 karat gold. This one is. The others are 14 karat, and I have to say that I am liking this nib. So the ink in here, as I already mentioned, is Pelican Edelstein Appetite. But that is a nice ink. I do find it a little bit on the dry side. I think I would like a little bit more of a wetter ink in that pen. The Mr. Cypress nibs do come quite tight the tines, so they will be dry writers. You will need to floss those nibs. At least that's what I found with the Mr. Cypress nibs. I've also seen other reviews where they've had a Bark or a Yovo nib, and they've also been tight tines as well. Just something to bear in mind. The next pen here, again, is another Mr. Cypress Eggshell Radon. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And I wanted, because this is a little bit more of a like a purplish tinge to some of those abalone strips, that I wanted to put a purplish or a violet ink in here. So this is the Mr. Cypress Eggshell Varden. Again, a medium, but this is a 14 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine Violet, which is quite a nice ink. And I haven't really used that ink much in a pen. So I've done ink swatches of it, but I've not really used it in a pen. So I'm glad that I decided to ink that one up, because I'm actually liking that. That's quite a nice colour. And then the last pen inked up here is, again, the Mr. Cypress Maple Leaf. And we'll do another ink swatch. Now this one is low-ish on ink, because I've been writing with it a lot. But again, you can see that this ink's a really lovely colour. Now, I was tempted to put the Vinter Cult Pens Whiskey Gold in, but I decided I would avoid it. So in here, we've got, it's a Mr. Cypress, and it's the Maple Leaf, and it's a medium 14 cat gold Mr. Cypress nib. And the ink in here is the same as what I put in the Onoto Magna Classic Chased Amber. It is Herbin, and it's Amber or Ombre de Burmanie. And I just actually thought, I've not actually inked up Lait de Thé from Herbin in quite some time. So that might also be another ink I'm going to need to ink up soon as well. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We've got an Onoto Magna Classic in the Chased Green, in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Meadow. We have an Onoto Magna Classic in the Chased Amber, in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Herbin Amber de Burmanie. We have an Onoto Magna Classic in the Cult Pens Christmas Cow, in a broad steel nib inked up with Vinter Cult Pens exclusive Whiskey Gold. And you can see that gold glitter. It's really stunning. We have a TWICO Seishu Dragon in red, in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with KWZ Thief's Red. We have a TWICO Seishu Dragon in green, in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with KWZ Grass Green. We have a Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath, in a broad 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pelican Edelstein Topaz. We have a Taccia Miyabi Empress Winter's Breath, in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Ultra Green. We have a Mr. Cypress Eggshell Varden, in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pelican Edelstein Appetite. We have a Mr. Cypress Eggshell Varden, in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Violet. And then we have a Mr. Cypress Maple Leaf, in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Herbin Amber de Burmanie. So there you have it. That's my currently inked pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.